So hello everybody. So this is my sixth video in my series, and this one's going to be related to creating the wings. We're going to use a slightly different method than we used last time for the tailplane, just to give you a bit of variation. This was suggested to me by one of my friends that's also on the site, so it's just an alternate way of doing it. It's actually, I think it's easier to do it, but I also think that there's some limitations, or I haven't explored it enough to find out how to resolve some of the issues that I've had. But anyways, it is a good method. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our wing profile. Just going to drag it in. So the fundamental. So we're just going to proceed here because it's basically saying we're bringing it in from another project and it won't be linked, which is great because that means it would change in both places. Just going to accept that. So first thing we're going to do is what we want to do is scale up, because what we want is the internal, or where the profile comes from, the inside of the aircraft and goes out. We want it to give it bulk around the root profile of the airplane. But there's another reason for it, which is when you make a mold, you want the molds to be, if I could explain, like conical, as in you have, like, say this was the mold and this is your part. So when you pull the mold off, it comes off the part easy. Whereas if you've got something, for example, that's like it's got a lip in here, so when you try to pull your part out, the lip stops it doing it. So in any place you're designing something like this for a composite, you need to think about how you're going to make the mold, how you're going to take it apart. So this is something that's very relevant for everything you do. Having smooth and filleted surfaces will help a lot. 90-degree angles are not good, and also straight surfaces aren't particularly good either. You'd always better just to have a little tiny bit of angle on it to help that separation process when you get to molding and creating parts. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the bodies off. I'm going to select my profile, and I want to if I go down here actually, so go to sketch, click on the sketch, click S, or go to your shortcut. For me it's on my button on my mouse. So the point we want to scale on is at the bottom, okay, and we want to have it 1.5, because if we use the center point, this would protrude, the new profile would protrude out the bottom of the fuselage. So we're using the bottom point because we know it's near enough at the bottom, so we'll scale it up the way. Okay, and this is what we're going to use for both. This is where we're not going to have another profile. We only need one with this method. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to create. I'm going to sketch some lines on that plane there. We're going to have one at the front. We're going to turn the canvases back on. And hit escape. Another line. Go to the bottom of the rear of the profile. Another little trick here. If you want to make this perpendicular, as you can see now, I'm drawing this dotted line. You just have to go over to it, go over the top of it, and then drag this back, and it will have picked it up. So we're going to do that. But there, we're going to finish that sketch. Turn off the canvases, and we're going to go to create sweep. So instead of loft, we're using a sweep. So first off, click your profile, path. I think it can be either. I'm not quite sure exactly what the difference is between these, but if we pick both of them there, we turn bodies back on. You can see it's now made it. It's currently is red because it's a cut, so we're going to turn that into a new body, and we're going to hit OK. That's it. We've got a root of the wing profile This is the bulk and the the solid part that's going to put strength in the core of the fuselage. So next one, same thing. We're going to do it again. We're going to create now. We're going to create another sketch, and we're going to sketch on the surface of the profile now, and we're going to select. Oh, now we need to say, right, so now we've selected the surface that we want to sketch on, but which way do we want our sketch direction to go? Is we want it on this plane, okay? Because whilst we were sketching on this surface, we don't want to sketch up and down and left and right. We want to sketch kind of, north and south of this point. Okay, so we're going to turn the canvases back on to give us some guidelines. So I'm going to make this wing a bit thinner. Pick a nice point there. I always like picking these kind of major points. If you've got specific dimensions, obviously, then you can't. But I like picking the major points because it's easier to lock to and pick up on when you're trying to coordinate it with another line, which is what we're about to do. So I need to pick up. So again, just select this plane. Okay. Again, if you wanted to do this, you could go like that, which I think is a really great feature, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to make it a bit longer. Just make actually sure they're on the right plane. They are. So we're now going to turn the canvases off, and we are going to do exactly what we've done before. So we're going to search for sweep here. I'm going to add it to my quick list. So profile, well, this profile path, we'll use this as the path. Guide rail here. Full extents. Now if you didn't, this drop down here, if you didn't have full extents and you had perpendicular to path, you can see that it changes it. But if you have full extents, it'll go to where you've asked it to go to, which is there because we want a bit of a curve on the end. And we want this as a new body. And okay. So now that's it. That's the wing done. So you turn it off. There you go. Now, a couple of points. If you want to change, that's fine if your path of the wing lie is exactly straight. But if you wanted to add washout on the end here, or if there was dihedral, or if there was both dihedral and washout, etc., or if there was a curve in the wing, it all changes. But these are the this is just the fundamentals of what we need to do. So I'm going to stop this video here. I'll start another one where we can look at maybe changing the tip with this method. If you were to use the same method as I've used on the tailplane, it's a lot easier because you can actually manipulate the end profile around its center point. So you can actually twist it by 3 degrees if you wanted to add washout. With this, you're not actually using a profile. You've created a lofted part from your origin point, which is here. However, there is ways you can do it, which I'll show you in the next one. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this one and start another.